Evening. I was just trying to catch up on the news here for today. I was kind of busy all day, so just trying to catch up, and also with Joe's video about Alberto Gonzalez speaking at some university forum for, I don't know, $40,000. I guess he was paid for this little speech with no comments from the audience allowed, of course. Who would have guessed? Um, so Alberto Gonzalez speaks at a university, and he was heckled by several students who were then thrown out of the auditorium. And Bush, on top of that today, pardoned 2 turkeys for Thanksgiving. So that's your news for today. Um, one might want to ask who should be pardoned other than 2 turkeys for Thanksgiving. So, this is not really the crux of my video today. I'm going to continue with my information about the domestic surveillance and essentially little history of the CIA for people who don't know it. And so during and I'm going to skip forward a little bit because it's just too long. YouTube, you have so little time to get so much across. So we're talking about the Vietnam War era here, and what happened during the Nixon administration and the CIA during the Nixon administration, basically. And so in 1969, Helms, who was the director of the CIA at that point, was directed by Nixon to begin operations against domestic, shall we call them enemy combatants? I don't know, domestic dissenters, essentially. And those operations began in earnest at that time. So there was Operation Chaos, all the surveillance of domestic dissenters and so on. And some of the people in the CIA, within the CIA, were actually against this. And they cautioned the director of intelligence against this. So here you have essentially some people like Ray McGovern today, who's speaking out. He's also ex-CIA. He was an analyst, And those were probably at that time the people who were speaking out against these kinds of programs, which are completely illegal, completely unconstitutional, and were declared unconstitutional after they became public. So even after this whole Watergate thing happened, this thing continues, of course. But before it happened, even Helms began to have second thoughts about how large this chaos operation had grown. But Nixon made it clear to him that the CIA was a presidential tool that he wanted at his disposal, and Helms got the message. Yet he also understood the growing uneasiness in other governmental institutions, and so especially when in 1972 the CIA Inspector General wrote a report that expressed concern about Operation Chaos in the following way. We also encountered general concern over what appeared to be a monitoring of the political views and activities of Americans not known or to be suspected of being involved in espionage, also foreigners coming into this country. Stations were asked to report on the whereabouts and activities of prominent persons whose comings and goings were not only in the public domain, but for whom but for whom allegations of subversion seemed sufficiently nebulous to raise renewed doubts as to the nature and legitimacy of the chaos program. Now, what this person here is talking about is essentially the surveillance of media stars, like John Lennon. He was a subversive. He had huge, huge files built up on him in the CIA, the FBI, everywhere, People like that who were just basically expressing their political views to the general public, not even an American public per se, just a general public all over the world. And so, of course, later on, Helms, and I don't want you to confuse Helms. Helms is not Senator Helms in the Senate, who is still, I think he's still in the Senate. He's pretty old now. It's not the same guy. So this was the CIA director, Richard Helms, I believe his name was, and he, of course, involved everything. He denied any CIA was involved in domestic operations, and that they were using institutions like the Peace Corps, the business community, or the media as cover for CIA operations. But then again, that all was proven that it had actually taken place. So, as they say, during Watergate, during that whole period, the House of Cards collapsed. For the public, at least, in the public's mind, all of this was resolved, and we had many commissions investigating this, just like the 9/11 Commission. There was a sort of general explanation of everything, and then everything after that died down, and of course it continues, so don't be surprised. I think what I'm going to be talking about next is the specific tactics that are used by intelligence services to discredit anyone who may be of a different viewpoint than the prevailing government. And so that might be an interesting subject for me even to research, because one gets to a point where probably somebody has to watch out, not what they say or what they do, but how they say it and how they do it. And so, I have many, many skeletons in my closet, and so I'll just have to figure out a way for them to get out to the general public without causing a civil war, basically. Thanks.